Well, hi there. My name is Pat Fader, and I will be your instructor for ITNET 112 Section 900. Thanks for taking the time to watch the screencast. I hope you find that helpful, and I hope you enjoy the class this semester. So here we go. First off, this is going to be the uncut version. I've hit the record button, and I'm just going to keep going. So hopefully, I don't make too many mistakes, and I don't have to repeat myself too many times. Briefly about myself, I've been teaching at MATC for about 16 years now. Prior to teaching, I worked as an engineer and I helped to develop both hardware and software. I always loved teach, always wanted to get into teaching. I thought I'd like it, and I did, and I haven't looked back. So, while I've worked as an instructor at Milwaukee Area Technical College, I've developed like our PC repair class. I helped teach our Cisco classes, um, developed and taught our Microsoft courses, helped develop our VMware class, and I think that's about it. As far as certifications go, I've earned a number of certs while teaching here, including the VMware VCP, the Cisco CCNA, the Microsoft MCSE, as well as the CompTIA A Plus certifications. I'm pretty sure I've got one more in there somewhere. I just not jumping in my mind right now. The best way to start one of my classes is with the first assignment, and I'm guessing that's why you're watching this screencast. And what I hope to do is we'll take a brief look at the announcements, and then I'm going to jump right into the syllabus, and we'll just kind of work our way through the class. And this is pretty much what I would do if I was teaching a face-to-face class. So the only difference is that you really can't ask me a question and stop me from rambling on. So here we go. Um, what do you need to buy for the class? Well, you need to buy a single product, a lab sim product, and you're going to see in a little bit that the entire course has kind of been developed around this lab sim product. You can buy it in our bookstore or you can buy it online for $84, and I have the information here. I think online might be a few bucks cheaper, and it's a web-based tool, so it doesn't really matter where you buy it from. Also, I'm guessing that you've taken other perhaps you have taken another Microsoft class here, like our Windows 7 class. If not, the assumption is that you're familiar with VMware, and and that this is not your very first class at MATC. If it is, drop me an email, and we'll have to figure out, looking at your skill set, if this class makes sense or not. I know in our networking program, all of our students have to take the Windows 7 class first, ITNET 110, and then they take this class, and that's worked out well. In our security program, as an example, the students do not take a client operating system class. They just jump right into the server class, and that's been okay for them as well. It's just a little bit more learning curve on the front end of the course. But again, we'll get you through it. Machines. I've got a Google Doc here, and we have created 5 virtual machines to support the labs that we wrote for this class. And you're gonna want to you're gonna need to get those virtual machines. I've got information on how to get those in this document here, but basically you can stop by lab and copy them, or you can stop by one of our academic support centers at the South, North, or Milwaukee campuses and make a copy of our virtual machines that way. And then finally, one thing that's new, and I'll say it's exciting just because I have a boring life and I guess the simple things are exciting now. But we did upload all of our virtual machines in the Dropbox. So for ITNet 112, you can go to Dropbox and you can download each of these 3 files, stick them in a blank folder, and at that point, I had the instructions in here on how to kind of recombine them and unzip them in the document. I will say this: I have a pretty good internet connection at home, and this took forever, and I had some download errors. I came to MATC and I did it, and it was our MATC's internet connection is amazing. So if you can do it on one of our campuses, that's going to be much better than doing it at home. Not to mention, if you download it at home, you have to put up with everyone complaining that Netflix stopped working and that the internet been brought to its knees while you're in the midst of downloading the files for our class. Okay. If I ever hear about jobs, I'll let you know. Job openings. Actually, I just heard about one yesterday. If you're looking to if you'd like to work in our academic support center at the Milwaukee campus, it's a 10 to 11 dollar an hour job about, and it's a lab assistant. Pretty much, you just help students with PC issues. The email address, if you're interested, is brown brown.er@matc.edu. So brown.er@matc.edu. It's not a super technical job. It wouldn't count as an internship. It's just some place if you want to earn a few extra dollars and put something on your resume. Okay, I've been sidetracked once in the first 5 minutes. This is a bad sign. So let's jump to the syllabus, and that'll keep me on track. The syllabus is here, but I've already opened it up. So here we go. All right. This is my name, Pat Fader, my website, and I want to show you a few things on that. I guess I already had it open. I have created some screencasts for ITNET 112, and here they are. I also have tried to capture some resources that MATC students have access to. So if we look at resources, you will see that you have access. You will have a DreamSpark account, which allows you to get free operating systems, and they don't time out. They're not like 30-day or 6-month copies. They're full operating systems: Windows 7, 8, 10, Server 2012, 2016, etc. VMware Workstation, you can get a copy of that through our VMware academic program. I have a screencast on that. CBT Nuggets are an amazing resource. Access, so there's some information on how to use that, as well as our job shop too. I hope you take a look at this. So you have access to a lot of resources at MATC. If you just jump to the student software page on my website, here's the links to the logons for the Nuggets, DreamSpark, and the VMware academic program. As far as creating the accounts goes, we typically will create our user accounts the Friday before online classes begin, and then if you add the class late, we also we update our accounts a week after that. So this semester we will be creating our accounts on February 22nd or January 22nd. Let's go back to the syllabus to keep myself on track here. Phone number. Email is really the best way to get a hold of me, so I have my email address in here. I also have office hours, so if we take a look at those real quick, they're off my web page. We can jump back to my web page again here. Oh, here, lab and office hours. So where's Pat? I have office hours from 10 to noon on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in M408. I actually have a class that runs from noon to 3 on Tuesdays as well, so you're always welcome. After I finish my lecture in the class, students are working on projects. So if you want to just stop in like around 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock or 1:30 rather, with a quick question or copy some virtual machines or something, you can do that. I do have some information on my lab and office hours as far as about our academic support centers, outlining which machines have our gold images on them, so you can copy them. Additionally, the machines, they have 8 gigabyte. They're being upgraded to 16 gigabytes of RAM. But you could do your the labs that we wrote on these machines as well. I used to try to have students stop by lab, but honestly, the academic support centers are a little nicer because they have longer hours of operation. We also have a lab assistant, and he'll be around. It should be on Tuesdays this semester, but I'll have him update his lab hours in this calendar as well. Okay. Office hours, phone number, email, we're on fire. The class description, this is our server 1. It does map to Microsoft Exam 70-410, which deals with installing and configuring Windows Server 2012. It's a fun class. I think there's some great hands-on activities and very practical skill set that you'll get out of this class. So if you want to work in a network administrator type capacity, what you learn here will help with that. Okay. We're doing all this together, so we'll skip that. Prereqs. I probably shouldn't say prereqs. I should just say maybe how about suggested prereqs perhaps. Suggested prerequisite. Textbook. We mentioned the lab sim, and let me comment on that real quick. So why only a lab sim? Well, in the past, we used to have our students buy a lab sim and a textbook, and you're going to see in a bit that we also have access to, we also have incorporated these CBT nuggets, and it just became too much. So a student would have their textbook, they're reading that, then they'd watch a CBT nugget, then they'd work on a lab sim, and it was just too many different inputs for the course. So the lab sim is the core of our course, and then what we've done is we've done things like supplement the lab sim products specifically, we've every week we'll reference one or two CBT nuggets that if you should watch those in addition to doing what's in the lab sim. And then we also wrote our own labs just to help students reinforce what they're learning in the lab sim and what they're seeing in the CBT nuggets. So that's kind of how the course is laid out. And it's a little easier in your pocketbook too. $84 is a lot cheaper than a lot of books out there, as I'm sure you found out. We have a library. You can look at that on your own. Supplies, as far as what do you need? Well, obviously it's an online class. So you're going to want a PC, and it's going to need to be capable of running our virtual machines. Or if you can't run our VMs, which means you need about 8 gigabytes of RAM. If you don't have that, you can always come to one of our academic support centers and use those to do the labs that we've written. The test out product itself has minimal. It's just basically browser based, so that's nice. But to do our labs with VMware Workstation, you're going to have a decent machine to do that. Also, as far as keeping your virtual machines, if you don't load them locally on your laptop or desktop, which I suggest, the VMs run much better when they're copied directly onto your hard disk of your computer. But just as far as getting the virtual machines or moving them between computers, an external USB drive would be perfect. They should be, it's under like $70. If we, let me just see here. I'll go to Newegg real quick. External USB. Just so you can see what I want. Something like this would be great. It's not a thumb drive. I don't want you to buy one of those, a flash drive. These external discs, they basically have a laptop hard drive in them. And for $50, how can you beat it? 1 terabyte. It does have USB 3.0, which I find, it's kind of dumb stating it, but since this is the standard, but obviously you want USB 3.0. Any USB 2.0, which is ancient, is about 10 times slower than USB 3.0. And if you're a Mac person, I'm sure you can find something better than USB 3.0 to connect to your laptop, but USB 3.0 would be perfect. Okay. Let's see here. Let's jump back to the syllabus again. Okay. Course requirements. So, how do you get your grade in 16 weeks? What's it based on? There's several assignments you'll do this semester, so that'll make up a portion of your grade. They actually makes up, if I take a look here real quick, that'll make up 10% of your grade, assignment number 1 and number 2. And then I've taken the lab sim and I broke it down into 8 pieces. Each piece is worth 10% of your grade, and I have milestones throughout the semester. So no, you can't put this all off until the end of the semester. You have to do it as we go, and you'll see in a little bit I have the due dates for there. So that's 80% of your grade. And then finally, we have a hands-on practice exam that'll make up 10% of your grade as well. So that's about a full letter grade. This might be beneficial just to take a quick look at the lab sim. Let's just jump there. Here we go. I have the lab sim already loaded up. So, our lab sim consists of 10 chapters. And let me just jump into one here. Each chapter has, some video, some hands-on demos, some text type things you can read, and then there's practice quizzes. I'll call them practice quizzes, as well as simulations. Let's see if we can find a simulation. If you see a mouse icon, that's a simulation. So I base your lab sim grade on 2 activities in here. I base it on all the simulations where you see the mouse icon, and I also base it on the practice questions, and that's it. So I don't care whether you watch the videos or not. I don't care whether you read about hard VHDs. What I care about is, can you do the simulations and can you do all the practice questions? As far as, can you repeat them? Absolutely. I take your highest score. So repeat it as often as you'd like. So chapters 1 through 10 make up 80% of your grade, and then 10% was a practice exam. So if we jump to the next section here, Windows Server Pro installing, it's getting chopped off, but here, install and configure practice exams. I'm laughing at myself. I just pointed at the screen and I realized you probably can't see me pointing at the screen. So the practice exam, we have 7 sections you could work through if you want to, but I base that 10% of your grade on Windows Server Pro install and configure certification practice exam. So if we take a look at that, you will see that you have 2 hours to complete it. It's 15 questions, and 15 questions is 15 simulations you're going to do. So basically all those simulations that you've been working on all semester, they've randomly just picked 15 of those, and that is what your practice exam comes from, so grade comes from. As far as what to expect on this, I've seen scores all over the map. I've seen people get 100 on it, and I've seen people do a lot worse than that. Normally, I'll have to curve this. And last semester, if you would have got about a 70% or better, you were doing well on it. So that's just something for you to consider. And if you're kind of dying to see what it's like, well, on your own, fire it up and check it out. Like I mentioned, you can repeat this activity as many times as you like. So what happened last semester, if you can believe it or not, is some students just skipped this practice exam, and despite my numerous attempts of letting them know how important it was, some students didn't do it, and that dropped their final grade by a full letter. Since it's worth 10% of your final grade. Okay, back to the syllabus. Late assignments, please just get everything done on time. Life is so much easier that way for you and for me. I do have something in place that if you're a week late, up to a week late 10%, up to 2 weeks late 20%, and more than that, the big zero there. So it does hurt submitting things late. I am a little bit flexible. I mean, I realize that you have things like computers crash, you illnesses occur, there's snow days, and you have to stay home watching your kids versus getting your schoolwork done. Whatever it is, if there's something that comes up and you're unable to get your assignment done on time, if you contact me ahead of time and say, Pat, I'm running into issues, can I have a couple of days? My answer will be absolutely. If you contact me a couple weeks later and said something happened, well then forget it. So then you're just going to you're going to lose points as indicated here. Okay. Some of the parts I'm skipping over, I'm going to let you just scan on your own, read on your own. It's critical in an online class that you access the Blackboard site and you do the activities. At a certain point in the semester, if a student hasn't done the first assignment, well then they get dropped from the course. Just like in a face-to-face class, I think it's like around the second week of the semester. Okay. Finally, we're getting somewhere here in the syllabus. So I've already mentioned our lab hours. I think I've mentioned our lab hours. I'm a little embarrassed. This is the second time I'm recording it. The first time I just ran into an issue and I thought, heck, I'll just start over again. If I didn't mention it, I'll just repeat myself. This is what I call a senior moment. Basically, I am on campus 10 to noon Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I have class on Tuesdays that runs from noon to 3. So if you want to stop by like at 2 o'clock, I'll be in the classroom and I can answer a quick question as well then. We have a lab assistant also, 1 or 2 lab assistants that'll help out, and I'll have them put their office hours or their on-campus time in the spreadsheet here. Sean Gould is one of them. He's already has his hours in here. I'm going to have him double check it though, because this doesn't look quite right. But typically Sean works on Tuesdays, and I'm hoping to have somebody else here on Fridays that can help out as well. Okay. I've talked about these different programs here, but hopefully you're aware of these. If you have any questions about what they are, or how to use them, don't hesitate to contact me. Part of the first assignment though is I do have you watching a screencast on all of these. Virtualization, we use VMware Workstation, which is free to you through our VMware academic program. And here's the most important part of the syllabus. This lays out the weekly deliverables. So my thought, and I teach face-to-face classes the same way. I try to lay out, the first week of the semester exactly what the expectations are and exactly what you're going to be doing. So week number 1, it runs from January 25th through February 1st. What should you be doing? Well, you can see here that assignment number 1 is due on February 1st. Jumping back to Blackboard, if I go under assignments, here's a link to assignment 1, assignment 2, and the hands-on. Well, the the final exam. Okay, what should outside of doing assignment 1, what else should you do? Well, you should do chapter 1 in your lab sim, which is really basic, and you should also watch the CBT Nugget course introduction. So let me just jump over to the CBT Nuggets webpage real quick. If I just go back to all their courses. So CBT, this is an amazing resource. I think students are really have really appreciated having access to this. Basically, MATC buys an annual subscription for our students that gives them access to all the video series that CBT Nuggets has created. And if you want to learn about Linux, it's in here. If you want to learn more about Macs, it's in here. If you want to learn more about Cisco wireless devices, it's in here. So there's numerous ways of accessing the content. This class maps to Microsoft Exam 70-410. So the quickest thing is to search for 70-410. And here it is, Server 2012 70-410. Just to get sidetracked a bit, Server 2, which comes after Server 1, that's Microsoft Exam 70-411. So your next semester, you'll be looking at 70-411 course. Let me jump back and let's look at our CBT Nugget course here, 70-410. So week 1, I want you to watch the course introduction. If we compare that to the syllabus, it says watch the course introduction, and I actually even put the link in there for that. Week 2, you do our lab setup assignment. I'm spoiling you. I'm even highlighting what I'm grading. You should work through sections 2.1 through 2.4 of your lab sim. So if I jump back and take a look at the lab sim again, I like going to this view right here. So you should work through 2.1 through 2.4. So it looks like you're going to do, there's a few practice quizzes, I guess I'll call them in there. And not much for there aren't any simulations yet. You'll get on those in the following week. Okay. And I promise you I won't say okay again during the screencast. I think I've said it way too many times. I mentioned that we wrote some of our own quizzes, our own labs. I want to show you those as well. So each week is laid out what you should be doing. If there's a lab, I added a link to it under our lab section here. The second week, you're going to work on the lab setup assignment. And okay, so that lab is really the goal of this lab is by the time you get to the end of it, you have a working environment at home where you can do the rest of the labs for the semester. Do I grade the labs? No, I do not grade the labs. Are they important to do? Absolutely. To me, that's where I do all of the learning. So our labs we've tried to make them real clear. We'll step you through exactly what you should do, what you should watch, and this is kind of like, in class you spend half a class period setting up your environment. Well, that's what you're doing online on your own at home. If you have questions with that, stop by my office hours or one of our lab assistants, and they can help you out as well. And something that we added last semester, which is pretty cool. So the labs, the typical lab starts off with a network diagram showing you the environment that you'll be working in, which virtual machines you'll be using. We have 5 virtual machines created for ITNET 112. And the labs will tell you on the front end, which machines you should be using. We have some suggested reading and viewing, which, this is, do you have to do it? No. If you do it, I think it'll make the activity you'll learn more from it. But check this out. This is the coolest thing. Under optional read and view, we've created a screencast that walks through the lab. So if you're doing this lab and you're like, I do not know what do all these arrows mean? What is going on here? I can't get something to work. Our screencast actually has one of our lab assistants who did the lab and captured it. So, and he did a great job with this. He added text. He did a great job narrating what he was working on. So There we go. So every week is laid out. Oh, and then, so for example, on February 22nd, you're expected to have all of, you know, chapters 1 and 2 done out of your lab sim, highlighted here. You know, February 29th, chapter 3. So I kind of, I broke the lab sim up into pieces, and each chapter is due throughout the semester, and I have that highlighted here. You can see some weeks have more labs than others. They're all good activities, and I really hope that you create time for yourself to watch these activities. Excellent. Okay. I'm just going to take a quick look at my notes to see if there's anything else that I need to talk about, but I believe I am done here. I really didn't demo how to use virtual machines and snapshots. I have a different screencast on that, which is part of assignment number 1. I think that's it. If in summary, if you do have a question, you can always email me, or you can post it to our discussion board and ask the class, which it looks like there's already 2 people that have posted, and someone is working ahead. And they've started the class, but they probably are thinking what a lame class because they watched the orientation screencast from last semester. All right, the second item is this class does map to Microsoft Exam 70-410. If you plan to take that certification exam to get certified, something to put on your resume, I will post more information about how to get certified towards the end of the semester. And I also hope to be able to give you some free self-test software to help prepare you for the exam. We're in the process of looking at getting a subscription from a company called Transcender. If the purchase goes through, I will be able to give all my students as many Transcender practice exams as they want. If you Google Transcender, you'll see the product that you're getting costs about $100 an exam, and our students will get like a 6-month copy to the exams that they're currently studying for. That is it. I hope you have a great semester. I hope that this was helpful. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you very much and have a super day. Bye.